chess friends, I hope you are doing well. Today, I am going to show you a thrilling and amazing chess game that I played with the RedFish AI. As you know, RedFish is the strongest chess engine among chess computers. This game is wonderful because I demonstrated how to attack on the kingside and sacrificed my knight and rook on the board, so stay tuned until the end of the video. I started the game with e4, here, RedFish considered c5, and after knight f3 happened in the game, here. Black can go with many different variations in the Sicilian defense. Bishop g7 a6 b5, and bishop b7 are all possible moves in the Sicilian, bringing out your bishop. These are standard moves in chess. We have d6 from black, and now we have d4, and pawn exchanges, delving into the open variation where black can consider knight f6, c6 b7 e5 e6 b5, all kinds of moves in the Sicilian variation. The Sicilian is very rich in theory. If you go on an exploratory path, you will see many ways to reach this state. According to the Sicilian defense, this opening consists of many different variations and paths. As my arrow shows here, white can play various moves such as castling, or push forward kingside pawns by bringing out the bishop on e3 or f4 to play long distance. That's the plan in the Sicilian. Therefore, after knight c3 and a6 happen to prevent any piece from entering. We have bishop e3, controlling the diagonal where queen to b6 can no longer attack the pawn. Black has to consider queen c7, followed by rook c8. These types of moves provide access to the c-file. He also needs to bring out the knight on c6 or d7 to control the center. It's in black's hands what he will do next. RedFish considered e6 because he wants to play defensively, restricting my bishop from going to c4 and limiting its diagonal from this position. It also restricts his bishop, because his bishop is likely to go to b7 to control the diagonal. The bishop arrives here, and a few moves later, we have queen to d2. It becomes evident that I want to play long castle and push forward my kingside pawns to invade. We have queen to c7 because rook c8 might come soon to access this file, and the knight can go to c6. Knight d7 is not so good in this position now because, with my bishop not on g5, what would the knight do on d7? Therefore, knight c6 should be played by black to attack my knight on d4. Now I executed my strategy. I built my cunning strategy by playing g4 because I want to play g5 and push forward my h-pawn, since the center is closed and relatively stable, where the bishop's diagonal is blocked by a pawn. He pushed the pawn, which blocked the bishop. Therefore, we have b5, the bishop aims for another diagonal, and the pawns seek to invade the queenside, as RedFish claims that if I am daring to attack on the kingside, he will counterattack on the queenside. That's the Sicilian's plan. In this position, the knight cannot move to light squares because the bishop controls these diagonals. Therefore, the knight retreats to d7. Now I played a3 to control the square, allowing my knight to return and access b4, covering more central squares. Since the pawn on b5 will be unguarded if black pushes forward the a-pawn, the bishop goes to b7, and we have h4, advancing the pawns. I am likely to play long castle and bring my rook to g and h files. After the knight moves, we have h5 in the game, ready to invade the board, which is my plan. RedFish became very shocked and paused, as he realized he cannot push forward his pawns. Even if the opponent considers g6, I can capture the pawn, or in a bullet game, you could play knight takes e6. Although this move sacrifices the knight, it holds significant advantages after capturing on g6. The pawn will be pinned, and black would need to castle long, letting you capture the pawn and enjoy a smooth advantage. Going back to the position, RedFish played unconsciously or played rook to c8, I am not sure why, as he did not castle long. Reflecting on this diagonal, I decided to capture the knight and immediately played long castle, because your rook isn't on the a8 square to control the diagonal and lead the pawns to attack. Therefore, my attack became faster than your counterattack. We have castling and g6 on the board. Now, playing h6 might be tempting for amateur players, but it is a completely wrong move. Do you know why? Because I can sacrifice my bishop, forcing you to capture, but you cannot capture at all. If Stockfish sacrifices a piece, you should resign immediately. or your position will become very difficult, and I will checkmate you in just 10 to 15 moves. So, going back to the main line, we see that h6 is a poor choice. That's why we have exchanges on g6, and even now, black cannot play h6 because of bishop takes h6. After capturing, we have rook g1, accessing this file where the bishops are attacking with coordinated force on the black king side. The knight arrives on f6 to attack the central pawn, and I defend my pawn. The bishop moves back to e8 to protect the pawn. Do you know what I played in this position? I showed no mercy to RedFish because, no matter how red or angry he may be, I will show no mercy. My queen prepares to move to h2, while my rook prepares to control these files to invade black. We have a5, queen to h2 and finally b4, attempting to attack my pieces. This position is difficult for me. I want you to stop the video here, pause, and try to figure out the best move I considered in this position. You can use your brain, which was made by God just for playing Ludo. Pause the video and try to figure out the best move that I considered here. Of course, my knight will not save himself from the war. He is like a brave soldier who sacrifices his life to honor his victory. To progress the war, I've considered f5, sacrificing the knight right on the board. It is a brilliant move, though, because if you think capturing the knight is a trap and let me capture the pawn on f5, you will still fall into my trap. After all the exchanges happen, your rook will be under attack by my bishop. After capturing, I can even sacrifice my rook. My lovely and beloved best friend, on the g7 square, after king takes rook, queen h6 followed by rook to g1 can lead to a checkmate in a few moves. The game will be over for you, alright. So, let me share an inspirational quote in sudden with you. Don't cry over the past, it's gone. Don't stress about the future, it hasn't arrived. Live in the present and make it beautiful. So, going back to the reason, we discovered that capturing the pawn is a very bad choice. That's the reason why RedFish just considered pawn takes knight, because it is good to do. He accepts my sacrifice, and we have rook takes pawn. It is another rook sacrifice. You may call it an exchange sacrifice. But do you know what? There is queen to h7 if you dare to capture my rook. After the capture and recapture in the game, you still cannot capture the rook, alright. And I am not interested in protecting my rook. If black dares to capture the rook, you know I can checkmate him on the h7 square. Here, RedFish thought a little bit and considered rook to e1 to protect the king and block with knight to g8, and that's exactly what happened in the game. RedFish took this approach, and therefore, as my b-pawn is under attack, I need to secure my king side. Otherwise, if I try to attack with all my pieces and focus on attacking, my king's position will be very weak. And black could checkmate me, and that's exactly what happens to many chess players. They get too focused on attacking and reduce their defenses on the king side. But I am not a human chess player. I am interested in protecting my position on b4. Some may consider capturing the pawn on b4, hoping to open the a file, and that's exactly what might happen in the game. If you capture the pawn on b4, the rook can go to h1, and after the king moves, bishop to d4 can arrive with the idea of attacking the king with queen to h8. You would face geometric problems, as the queen and bishop can attack the knight and the pawn diagonally. So, going back to the position, black didn't capture the pawn on b4, we have queen to c6 and rook to h1. After the king moves, here I played another brilliant move. Can you guess what I played in this position? Try to think a little and use your brain. The move I played is very strong. It is queen to h8 check. If you found it, congratulations. But wait a minute, it's not the best move. Actually, it's a mistake. After knight to g8, how can I continue to attack black? You might suggest playing rook to f1 to access this file, but the bishop can block it, and the king side will be well protected. You might suggest bishop to d4, attacking with 3 pieces, and black will face significant trouble. But no, queen to a4 will arrive. You may ask if bishop takes f6 could lead to checkmate on the g7 square, right? No, because black can. In the meantime, check you by capturing the pawn, and after the king moves, queen to a1 can lead to checkmate. The position will be over for you. When you are busy in your business or your work, your beloved may take advantage of you. Similarly, in this position, while you are busy attacking black's queen can checkmate your king. So, going back to the position, we discovered that playing queen to h8 is a very bad choice, and this move was not played by me. I played bishop to h6, sacrificing the bishop right on the board, because if you dare to capture the bishop, I will capture the pawn with a check, and after the king moves, I can check you on the board. So back to the position, instead of capturing the bishop, RedFish realized that he cannot capture it. After the king moved, we have bishop to f5, putting the bishop on another square. After the queen moved, we have queen to h3, getting access to this diagonal. After the bishop moved, to protect the e6 square, the bishop moves back to f4, gaining access to the h-file. I'm trying to hack into black's position, as if I were accessing all of black's private files. But don't worry, I'm only commentating on my chess video. That's exactly how I can attack black, by exposing the king and the queen by playing bishop to b7. The queen is practically blackmailed by my bishop. It cannot capture the bishop because black's king would be troubled, being deflected from the g8 square, allowing the white queen to go to h8, leading to check. Rook f1 can come, and the position would be over for black, after the queen moved. We have a queen check with the knight blocking and rook to d1 happening again, attacking the pawn. After a couple more moves, we have rook f1, bishop here, bishop to b5 a4, and finally, bishop to g5 queen to h8. This is my final punch. The queen moves back to g8, and I play my rook here. After the capture, I played my final, brilliant move. Rook takes g8, sacrificing the rook once again, just like his brother knight sacrificed himself long ago in the war. Like his brother, the rook sacrificed his life for honor. After capturing, you can see that I have two bishops and a pawn on g6. This position is completely winning for me. I need only to push forward the a-pawn, and slowly but surely, I will win the game by promoting it to a new queen. This is exactly how I won the game. This game was marvelous with RedFish. I hope you enjoyed it.
Wait a minute, I will not spare you, Stockfish. I will take another match with you. Be ready, my fish food.
Yes, defeat me in your dreams. I hope you enjoyed my content, so don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel.